Bob Marley, Lubbock, Texas, and the Pentagon Papers are all on this day. Hey, welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is May 11th. It is the 132nd day of the year. There's only 234 days left in 2020. It's also the 19th Monday. Today is also the 53rd day of spring. There's 41 days until summer. That's kind of weird because it's hot as Hades right now in Portland, Oregon. Feels like summer already. Anyway, if this is on or around your birthday, your birthstone is an emerald and your zodiac sign is Taurus. There's no weird holidays on today. In the US at least. Let's take a look at past May 11th. 1846, President Polk asks for a declaration of war against Mexico, starting the Mexican-American War. It followed in the wake of the 1845 US annexation of Texas, which Mexico still considered Mexican territory since the government did not recognize the treaty signed by Mexican General Santa Anna after the Texas Revolution a decade earlier. Santa Anna was the guy who slaughtered everyone at the Alamo and was later captured by forces led by Sam Houston. In the deal to spare his life, or at least a very long life as a POW, Santa Anna signed over Texas. Well, Mexico wasn't okay with that a decade later. I don't think they were ever okay with it, but Santa Anna was. 1894, 4,000 Pullman Palace Car Company workers go on strike. Pullman was a major train car maker back in the day. This was a nationwide rail strike and a turning point for U.S. labor laws. The strike and boycott shut down much of the nation's freight and passenger traffic west of Detroit. The conflict began in Chicago when nearly 4,000 factory workers of the Pullman Company began a strike in response to the recent reduction in wages. You never reduce people's wages. Total of 30 workers were killed in the basically riots. 1943, World War II, American troops invade Ato Island in the Aleutian Islands in an attempt to expel the occupying Japanese forces. This was a battle fought between U.S. forces aided by Canadian reconnaissance and fighter bomber support. Ato Island is off the coast of what was then the territory of Alaska, now the state of Alaska. It's like the last island of the Aleutian chain. Anyway, it was the only land battle of World War II that was fought on American soil. The more than 2-week battle ended when most of the Japanese defenders were killed after a final banzai charge broke through the American lines. Yeah, it was serious hand-to-hand combat, a lot of bayonets. Oddly enough, the division that was used in that battle for the U.S. Army was the 7th Infantry Division, and they're known as the Bayonet Division to this day. I was in that unit 42 years later. In the 19 days of battle, 549 soldiers of the 7th Division were killed and more than 1,200 injured. The Japanese lost a total of 2,351 men, including their commander there, and they only took 28 prisoners. Kind of weird. 1970. The 1970 Lubbock Tornado kills 26 people and causes $250 million in damages. It was one of the worst tornadoes in Texas history and occurred exactly 17 years to the day after the deadly Waco tornado, which was horrible. 1973, Daniel Ellsberg has all his charges dismissed. I'll tell you why. Daniel Ellsberg is an American economist, activist, and former United States military analyst who, while employed by the Rand Corporation, participated in a national political controversy in 1971. When he released the Pentagon Papers, which was a top-secret Pentagon study of the U.S. government's decision about the Vietnam War. Anyway, he turned these things over to the New York Times, and in a nutshell, the papers showed that the Johnson administration was lying to pretty much everyone about the Vietnam War. So, on January 3rd, 1973, Ellsberg was charged under the Espionage Act of 1917, along with other charges of theft and conspiracy, carrying a maximum sentence of 115 years. But due to governmental misconduct and illegal evidence gathering, all his charges were dismissed on May 11th, 1973. 1997, Deep Blue, a chess-playing supercomputer defeats Garry Kasparov in the last game of a rematch, becoming the first computer to beat a world champion chess player in a classic match format. Movies released on May 11th, 2001, A Knight's Tale, starring Heath Ledger. Great movie. It's too bad that man passed away. He was a good actor. But A Knight's Tale is a great movie. If you've never seen it, you get a chance, definitely watch it. Born on May 11th, 1904, Salvador Dali, Spanish artist. I love his work. 1911, Phil Silvers, American actor and comedian. He's old school comedy. He was great. I remember him from like those old Merv Griffin shows and stuff like that I used to have to watch with my grandmother. Phil Silvers was great. Died on May 11th, 1981, we lost Bob Marley. He is considered one of the pioneers of reggae music. This made him a global figure in popular culture for over a decade. He's also considered a global symbol of Jamaican culture and identity, and was controversial in his outspoken support of the legalization of marijuana. He died at the age of 36. Just 4 years prior, Marley was found to have a type of malignant melanoma under his nail of his toe that would later be his demise. So sad. I listen to his music all the time, to this day. I got into Bob Marley probably in high school, around 1985, and I don't think I've been a month in my life since then that I haven't listened to something by Bob Marley. Alright, so that is what May 11th has given us in the past. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.